Welcome back, Kings. Today, we're going to be talking about who we look up to. In modern times, I'm not very proud of who most of my peers look up to. Most of the time, you'll see our brethren looking up to profane rappers who glorify drugs, death, and sex, and also sports idols and such. But there are healthy idols out there, and by idols, I don't mean people like you praise the gods, because in the Bible, of course, it says not to have idols. By idols, I don't mean your gods, right? Our only God should be Jesus Christ. But I mean people you look up to. Looking up to a rapper, a profane rapper, who it can't benefit you. You know, I've seen a lot of guys be like, "Oh, look who young Cumtism. Look what he uploaded last week. Look, have you checked out thick Thick Luna's new album?" You know, it gets annoying. Those people can't benefit you. Those people are just children themselves, and so better idols to have is think of great men: Marcus Aurelius, Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte. These are people that we can look up to. Let's just use Napoleon Bonaparte, for example. The reason I look up to Napoleon Bonaparte is we have several common interests. He wasn't raised in a particularly wealthy family. He was a farmer boy, but by being smart, he got into a military academy, and from there he got commissioned, and he became an officer and climbed the ranks and became a general just by his sheer will and charisma. Just by charisma and sheer will, he took over the world. He became the Emperor of France just by charisma and leadership skill. Julius Caesar, one of the greatest, most renowned men in history. He was a fantastic military leader. He had the love of the people. Basically, the people overturned Rome when he was killed. Marcus Aurelius, who wrote Meditations, Wisdom, the creator of Stoicism, or one of the foremost founders of Stoicism, the idea that we should be calm and collective through adversity and should always be striving to find the good in life. There's thousands of these great men that have dedicated their lives to meaningful and charitable purposes. Yet we choose to glorify rappers, athletes, YouTubers. YouTubers is a big one. We choose to glorify them almost on like a godlike pedestal. They're not gods, they are men. And sometimes they try and act like gods. But the thing about a lot of these men, of course some of these men did have that same kind of fault in glorifying themselves as gods, but a lot of these men, such as Marcus Aurelius, accepted the fact that they're human and their time on this earth was limited. And with that realization that he was human, that his time on this earth was limited, he created so many timeless tenets of wisdom. Timeless tenets, look at that alliteration. He created so many different principles that us as men can live by and benefit from. Julius Caesar, for example, a great military leader. You can look up to him just for like his charisma. Like just by charisma, millions loved him. But he was also he had this love aspect. He had the love of his people, a love for his people also. But there was also this fear. Great military general, led thousands into combat. So much respect. And there's just General George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, our forefathers. There's so I can't even begin to grasp, because there's Alexander the Great. You know, there's so many examples of great men that we can look up to and admire from our past and history, and we can benefit from so many of the ideas and ideologies that they created. Yet we choose to look up to and idolize rappers and athletes and live like them. Like, those are the last people we should be trying to live like. In this book, The 21 Tenets of Biblical Masculinity, talks about how young men should learn from aged Christian men. Aged men. How to be a good man, how to be a good Christian, how to develop godly principles, how to a marketable wage-earning trade. There's so many examples in the Bible of young men learning from older men. Let's see. I just had a thought. Think of the older man in your church. Kind of lonely, doesn't talk a lot. He's not necessarily charismatic. He's kind of put to himself. That man has so much wisdom. He's had a lifetime of experiences, from making mistakes, making good choices, being in fellowship with God. So much wisdom that we can benefit from. Those are the type of men that we should be learning from. So with men like that to teach us, men like Alexander the Great, men like George Washington, men like Marcus Aurelius to look up to, and learning from those aged Christian men, those are the type of influences we had, combined with our brothers in Christ that we should be doing good habits with, working out, training, developing ourselves, combined with maybe I should make like a full guide on that. Who we look up to, who we learn from, and who we choose to go through life with. In conclusion, who we look up to, who we learn from, and who we imitate has such a huge impact on our lives. And we should be completely and utterly intentional about who we idolize and copy. Pray about it. Ask God to reveal to you any faults that you may have in this area. Pray for Him to guide you to find a healthy mentor, good friends, and healthy idols.